former police officer at the heart of the Sheku Bayoh inquiry, says her colleagues couldn't have done anything differently in the run-up to his death. The father of two was restrained by officers in Kirkcaldy in May 2015, following reports he was carrying a knife and behaving erratically. Nicole Short, one of the first officers on the scene, spoke to the media today for the first time. The Bayoh family's lawyer has accused the Scottish Police Federation, which represents rank-and-file officers, of sabotaging a 5-year-long inquiry into his death. Nicole Short sat down with our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan earlier and said she and her colleagues will continue fighting to clear their names of any wrongdoing.
I believe that, and I've said for a lot of years now, that I think that somebody's walking about today that maybe wouldn't have been if we hadn't responded to the 999 calls from the public about Mr. Bayoh. None of us went to work that day wanting somebody to die in our care, our custody. That's the last thing you want. I joined the police to help people, and it was tragic when we learned that he had died.
That knife wasn't there, though, when you arrived at the scene and when your colleagues arrived at the scene. You couldn't see that he was carrying that knife.
No, if anything, I would say that makes it more dangerous, the fact that you can't see it. If you can't see it, you don't know where that danger's coming from. All too often, these weapons are concealed.
Do you think your colleagues are right to use batons and restrain him on the ground in the way that they did?
I think they were stuck in between a rock and a hard place, to be honest. Mr. Bayoh had to be restrained because he was so dangerous. He just assaulted me. We still don't know where the knife is, and when I turned round, he was lifting 3 of the biggest male cops on my team up off the ground in a press-up position. And I honestly thought he was going to get up and kill me.
What would you have done differently if he'd been white?
Nothing. He was a man with a knife. He was terrorising the public. They were scared, and they phoned the police for help.
What was the long-term impact on you from all of this?
Yeah. I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. Apparently he died that day. Yeah, I've said that since the start.
Is there anything you want to say to Sheku Bayoh's family?
Wow. I'm sorry for the loss of your brother, your son, brother-in-law, ex-partner. It's tragic, and I can't imagine how that must have felt, having that news delivered to them. But I want to say to them, we're not what you're saying we are. We're not. I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for the bravery of my colleagues. They made split-second decisions. We're innocent of what we've been accused of, what we've been tarnished of all these years. And I would fight for the rest of my life to clear our names. I really would.
Nicole Short talking to David Cowan, who's here with us. David, that's one side from one police officer who was there. What are the Bayoh family saying?
Well, the family's lawyer spoke on their behalf today. Amar Anwar was particularly furious about the use of that knife as a prop during the news conference. He said it was absolutely disgusting. He said the police response in Kirkcaldy 10 years ago was not proportionate. Sheku Bayoh was unarmed when officers arrived at the scene, and the only people who had weapons when that happened were the police.
Today was grotesque and highly offensive to the Sheku Bayoh family. Nicole Short, a former police officer, stated that part of her died that day. There was only one person that died that day. Sheku Bayoh, an unarmed black male, 31 years old, father of 2, who was restrained by up to 6 police officers and subsequently died.
And Dave, that media conference was organised by the Scottish Police Federation, the union for rank-and-file officers, but it was the Police Scotland sign behind them.
Yeah, the point the Federation was trying to make was to highlight the motto of Police Scotland, which is keeping people safe. They're saying, their argument is that what the officers did that day was to do that, to keep people in Kirkcaldy safe from the threat that they say was posed by Sheku Bayoh.
So what happens now? Because the First Minister's involved in this.
Yeah, when Lord Brackadale, the inquiry chair, resigned after the Scottish Police Federation accused him of apparent bias because he'd held meetings with Sheku Bayoh's family, private meetings, the family said, well, we want to meet the First Minister, John Swinney, to talk to him about this. John Swinney subsequently said he was happy to meet the family. And that exchange made the Police Federation very angry. They accused Mr Swinney of not caring, they said, in their words, about an officer who was seriously injured in the line of duty. They said the officers involved in the incident should meet him too. Mr Swinney subsequently said he was open to that, open to meeting them, but they wouldn't be able to talk about the evidence at the inquiry itself. So presumably those meetings will take place at some point. In the meantime, the Scottish Government is going to continue that very difficult task of finding somebody who's prepared to come in at the 11th hour and get this inquiry across the finishing line.
OK. David, thank you so much for the update.